Hello traders, this is day number 14 of small cap market open test trading. What is that? That's me trading a trading plan that I've written with just one single share, real money, and we're going to take this out to 100 trades, and at that time we can determine whether or not this trading plan is profitable with small cap stocks. Small cap stocks are notoriously unpredictable, unreliable. They do not tend to follow patterns as well. So I'm putting that to the test and seeing if with some strict criteria, if we can still make a profit off of these small cap stocks. So far we're hovering around break even, but we're only 25 trades in. It's still way too early to call it. The beauty of this is, even though we are kind of struggling to be profitable with this trading plan, after 25 trades, not only have we not gotten anywhere near to blowing up our account or putting our account at high risk, we haven't even spent more than maybe about 25 cents at this point. I'm going to go over all of those results in detail this weekend on a video that I'll release on Sunday morning. So check that out. First, let me show you, before we get to the trade that I took this morning, the screener that I use, and here it is, the small cap screener. Always click those three dots and click modify, otherwise your filters will not be applied. If I didn't say it already, we took one trade at the open this morning, and so it was a one and done day, but not quite the same as yesterday. I'll show you exactly what happened in just a moment. So as always, I organize the list by volume. I'm only interested in the stocks that are green, because that means that they are going up in price. And I want to see a percent change of 5% or more. I want to see volume of 500,000 shares or more right at the open. That's quite a lot to ask. And the other thing that I'm interested in is the relative volume of the stock. So you can see here, like ANY has about 50% of its relative volume. BTBT has more than 100% of its average volume. So it has high relative volume. So those, I was looking at those. Maybe there was a couple more, but there's not a whole lot going on today. Overall, the small cap market seemed kind of weak, and it proved itself to be a bit weak. So let's take a look at the video, and we'll see. So here's BTBT. Is that right? Yeah, BTBT. And this one was one of the first ones that popped up on the screener, but you could see the 200 moving average on the daily chart, or I should say that the price was trading below the 200 moving average on the daily chart. And I need to see it break out above that level before I could even consider trading it. So that was kind of the first criteria for that stock, even though it met other criteria. So I put out a yellow line there that it has to break that level first, and then a couple other things would have to happen too before I could take a trade. So this is actually the high of the previous session. So that is the second yellow line there is the 200 moving average on the daily chart. All right, so ANY. Here's one that, let's see, just want to make sure that I did move these lines in the proper places. Yes, so here is the high of the previous session. That criteria was met. The price broke out above that. It established one high of day, the first high of day. So that's what that second yellow line is. And now I need to see it break above that high of day and establish a new high of day. And that, to me, signifies that there is strength in the stock, that there are people trying to buy it, pushing the price up. So that's when I want to get in on the first pullback and the first 1 minute candle to make a new high of that pullback after the second high of day has been established. So that is this level right here on the white line. So that has been established. So now I'm just waiting for a pullback. The other thing that's important, especially if the stock is pulling back hard like ANY is you have to establish a point where you have considered the trade to fail, whether or not you're even in it. Maybe it hasn't triggered you to get in it, but you see this red line on my chart. That is where the price had come down previous and found buyers, so that's support, and the buyers were able to push the stock past the previous resistance. So that, to me, is a strong support level at this moment. If that support level is broken, then that's a sign that this stock is not very strong, that the sellers are in control, and that the price is going to more than likely go down overall. So that's what that red line means, and as long as the price doesn't come down and break that level, I can get an entry or take an entry when a 1 minute candle makes a new high. So right now that's what I'm waiting for, is to see a 1 minute candle make a new high. And let me say this as well. You can see now it's just tapping that level. It has to break through that. If that level was broken, I would stop trading for the day, whether or not I've taken a trade or not, because that's also a sign that the market is not aligning with my plan. So it's not a good day for me to be taking trades, because this ANY, this setup is pretty much a textbook setup to my trading plan. That's what I want to see. And if it doesn't even kind of get off the ground with the first trade, and hits this kind of line of weakness that I drew out on the chart, then I don't want to trade it, or break that line of weakness, I should say. Okay, so now it has touched that line, that support line, but it has not broken it. So it's kind of like on the edge, but it's perfectly within my plan to take this trade. My plan doesn't say around that line or touching that line. It says it must break through that line of support, and that's when I don't take a trade. So if it can pull all the way back down to that line of support, and then I can take a trade if it makes a new high on a 1 minute candle. And that's exactly what happened here. So you could see that I believe the high of this candle, let me just back it up just a hair. So the high of this candle, let's see, is that the one that, yeah, high of this candle is 662. So I was looking for 663 or better, and it looks like I triggered my hotkeys at 664. Let's watch this in real time. So I'm looking for 663 there. It never showed that to me. It showed me 664, and I got in at 665. So a couple cents slippage, that's not bad. And the stop loss, you have to get that in place immediately. And then this trade is a great example of why you really need to use hard stops. You'll see what happens with this thing eventually and why that's so important. But I got the hard stop in place, and then I can calculate my profit target with my 2-hour calculator. And now we've put the profit target in place, so the trade is taking care of itself now. I don't have to worry about it, but I just like to put it up here on a single chart, and this way it's easier to see in the video. Now, normally, if this trade failed, I would be looking to take up to 2 more trades on the same stock, but since my stop loss is below that support level that I have decided, okay, this stock is going to be weak if it breaks that level, then that means that I'm done for the day if I get stopped out on this trade. So that's the other possibility. There are 2 possibilities for one and done days for me. Either the first trade that I take hits my 2-hour profit target, and in that case I stop trading, or the first trade stops me out below the level that I have determined the trade to fail, and that the stock becomes weak. So here I have time just checking my that I entered the right numbers here on my 2-hour calculator. And so far this thing is looking fairly promising. You can see it's hitting some resistance there at 668, which is to be expected. There's a double top over here. But again, none of this is just interesting stuff to note. It doesn't affect my trading. Once I'm in the trade, I am looking for this 2-hour profit target or nothing, or the 1-hour minus 1-hour stop. That way, over time, the winners can outweigh the losers. So one winner will knock out 2 losers, because I'm always going to be winning twice of what I lose in my losing trade. So let me fast forward a little bit here, and we'll see what happened in the long run with this. So you see it did break that resistance level. That's always a good sign. And it looked like it was going to continue higher there for a moment, but then it starts to fail. Now, there's no telling what can happen at this point, even though, yes, it looks weak. I've been in so many trades like this where it comes down and goes below my position, and then reverses, goes back around, and hits my 2-hour profit target. So there's nothing, I mean, not that there would be anything for me to do anyway. That's not my plan to manage the trade once I'm in it. I decide on the entry point, and then I just stick to the plan, which is either taking the stop or the 2-hour profit target. So let's fast forward a little bit more. Now this here coming up is the perfect example of why you need to use hard stops. Imagine yourself in this trade. If you just had your position here but no stop loss, and you're saying to yourself, okay, I want to stop out manually if it breaks below the bottom of this candle. So exactly where I have this red line, let's say that is your mental stop loss. Watch what happens with this trade. It's going to happen on this candle. So it's teasing us here, looking like, okay, it's going to reverse. It's made a higher low on this candle than this one. So that is a sign of strength. That's a sign that the trend will continue upward. So I'm kind of trying to plant all these seeds here while you're thinking about your mental stop loss. So right now you're kind of encouraged by the current price action that, okay, this trade, it might still work out. So let's just hold strong. We're not going to stop out because it's looking strong, and then let's see what happens here in just a moment. Maybe it's on the next candle. So even I guess in this case, I don't know. Let's see. We've got 15 seconds left on this candle. About 10 now. I think it is on this candle. Maybe toward the end of it. Here it goes. Look at that. Check that out. So imagine you're sitting there just like I was saying, okay, we've got higher lows and this thing is looking promising now. What are you going to do when you have a mental stop in place and now this thing is more than 10 cents lower than your mental stop? Are you going to be able to stop out? Are you going to end up like a deer in headlights going, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I did not see that coming. There was no way that you could predict that flush. And now you're sitting here holding a bag and you're probably thinking, I can't get out now because now the loss is too big. I can't afford to take that loss. Now, if you were in this scenario with a mental stop, the best thing to do would be to stop out as soon as possible. But if you're using a hard stop, you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about it. Even with that huge flush there, I did get stopped out exactly where I wanted to at 652. I didn't catch any slippage whatsoever, even though the stop loss is a market order placed at a certain price. Now, that's not to say you'll never get slippage getting stopped out. I have gotten it a few times, but usually it's a few cents. This was like 13 cents. This thing came down below my original stop loss, so maybe even more actually. Yeah, like about 16 cents at the bottom of this candle. So that's huge. And that could have hurt you really bad. That's, the type of thing that can blow up an account pretty easily. So, especially if you end up holding the bag and just letting this thing continue to go against you. Now, I don't know what this stock ended up doing. It may have reversed here. It may have hit my profit target. Who knows what? It doesn't matter. Everything I did here was within my plan. And at that moment, my plan says, okay, I have to stop trading because the support level was broken of this stock. So even though normally I'm allowed to take up to 3 trades, and I must take up to 3 trades if all the criteria are met, when this support level is broken, my plan says I have to stop trading because right now this is a sign that the market is not in favor of this trading plan. So hopefully everything I said makes sense. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. And if this video is helpful to you, hit the like button. And as always, you must go into every single trade with a plan. Right, today we had a good plan here, but the market just did not coincide with our plan, so we end up walking away minus -1R. Now that is not going to hurt us in the long run, and we should be able to recover from this in the next trade, really, as long as the next trade works out. So we'll see what happens then. So as always, you need to go into every single trade with a plan and stick to that plan no matter what. Always take your stop losses, use hard stops. You would be in big trouble here if you didn't, and honor your profit targets. And in the long run, you should be green. Take care.